just record. Lovely. So we'll start in our seated position, just taking a few moments to really kind of settle and ground and let go of the day thus far before we start kind of the movement part of our practice. So really grounding down through the legs, whether that's cross-legged, whether you're sat up on a chair or a sofa, to really kind of feel that connection with the skin on the earth. You can either place your palms kind of facing down on the knees or on the earth if you want a bit of grounding, or you can have palms facing up if we're looking to build a bit of energy. And just starting to notice the breath. You might find it quite helpful to almost visualize your nose as you're breathing in and out. You might want to close your eyes to do that. Not looking to change the breath at this point, just noticing where it is today. Noticing what that's telling us about kind of our state of being and our state of mind today. Maybe being a little bit curious and asking ourselves, how are we feeling today? How are we feeling physically, mentally, emotionally? And not kind of judging or getting attached to what comes up, being very compassionate and non-judgmental, just noticing what's there for us today. Maybe starting to invite in a slightly deeper breath. Feeling the skin of the belly stretch as we inhale, taking up space. Letting everything drop, letting everything go as we exhale. Dropping the shoulders, maybe relaxing the muscles of the face and the jaw. Asking ourselves, what do we need today? Whether that's for our practice, whether that's for our evening. What do we need? What's going to give us support? Maybe for our practice, that's using props when we'd like to. Maybe it's taking it a bit of slow. Maybe we've got lots of restless energy we need to release. So maybe when I'm, holding us still in movements, maybe you're going to keep moving because you've got energy you need to let go of today. That is absolutely fine. The setting, our intention for the practice. Breathing it in and imagining it's already so. We're already doing it. And then when you're ready, we'll bring our palms together, bringing them to the heart space just for a moment. And feeling that energy, that warmth in our hands. Using that thumb to sternum connection to start to kind of lift through the chest so we're sitting up nice and tall, finding a bit of energy in the spine. Grounding down through the legs. Head over heart, heart over pelvis, and nice and stacked. And then maybe noticing the muscles of the lower back and the side body start to switch on and engage. And then when you're ready, bring these palms back down to the earth. Right, inhale, start to lift through the left arm, lifting it up and overhead. Taking a moment to really reach the arm up, as if we're kind of reaching up and out of the torso, out of the center. And then exhale, bringing that arm back down. Going straight to the other side, inhaling, reaching the arm out and up, taking up lots of space. Maybe giving the fingers a little wiggle. And then bringing the arm back down with the exhale. Lovely. Then we'll inhale, raise both arms this time, but taking them back behind our ears, being nice and slow with the movement, lifting up and out the triceps. Taking a moment to reach a little further with one hand, and then the other, so nice and tall. And then we're going to bring that left palm down to meet the side body and start to fold over with the right arm. Maybe taking the gaze up to the elbow, so we're opening out through the front chest, creating a little bit of space between the shoulder and the ear, so we're not kind of crunching down. Really nice, guys. Keeping those deep, mindful breaths. Maybe taking a little wrist roll or wriggling the fingers. And then we inhale, cartwheel those arms all the way up and over, bringing it to the other side, so coming over to the right, reaching through that top arm, up and out. Again, taking that gaze up to the top elbow if that feels comfortable for you, to really kind of emphasize that length in the side body. Taking those wrist rolls, wriggling the fingers. Continuing that nice mindful breath. And then we'll exhale, bringing the palm over, coming back to center. Lovely. I'm just going to give our neck a little bit of attention. So we're with our fingertips on the floor, so we're still keeping up nice and tall. We'll inhale, start to take the nose over to the right, just so we feel that little bit of opening in the front of the neck. Exhale, coming back to center. And inhale, taking it to the other side, taking it over to the left. Feeling, taking a moment to feel that stretch on the side of the neck. And then with your breath, coming back to center, taking the nose up, looking up towards the sky, and then bringing the nose all the way back down. Feeling that nice stretch at the top of the shoulders, back of the neck, coming back to center. And then just taking some little circles with the nose, as if you've got a pen on your nose. Starting nice and small. So maybe kind of like a little 50p piece. And then gradually getting a little bit bigger at your own speed, going as far as you're comfortable. As far as kind of feels good for you. So kind of reaching all four corners of the neck. Going one way. And then reversing it back the other way. We're kind of going from our fullest extension, our fullest range of motion, and then we'll bring it back in. Got nice little micro movements. Super. Very good. And from here, so still on the fingertips, nice and tall, we're going to inhale in, finding that length. Exhale, start to twist over to the right. So twisting from the rib cage, bringing that left hand to your right knee. Taking the gaze over your back shoulder, lovely. And keeping that nice straight spine. So we don't want to be kind of hunched over. We're keeping that length to find that twist. Seeing if you can go that little bit further with your exhale. And then inhaling, coming back to center. And then exhaling, taking it over to the other side, taking it to the left this time. Keeping that integrity in the spine, which you're all doing a great job of. Taking the gaze over that back shoulder, feeling that rotation in the spine and in the neck. Nice stretch in the side body, giving the internal muscles a little bit of a massage. And then when you're ready, coming back to center. Very good. And from here, we're going to cross the ankles, send our palms over to kind of guide us up and into our tabletop position. And then taking a moment to really kind of set up here. So immediately kind of pushing away from the earth, spreading the fingertips. Taking a moment to really kind of connect your shins and the feet to the ground, feeling that kind of ground earth connection, that upward current of energy from your mat. It's really pushing away, so we start to switch on the muscles of the arms and the legs and the abdominals, and pushing through the shoulder blades. Really nice. Then when you're ready, we're going to inhale, tuck the toes under, and start to lift your knees off the floor just ever so slightly. So I probably won't be able to see it when I look at your camera. We're just looking at about an inch or so. We're really pushing through the shoulder blades, pushing away from the mat, feeling the muscles of the legs start to cling to the bone and switch on and shake, telling us that we're alive, we're safe, we're well. Holding it here for 3, 2, 1, popping the knees back down. Lovely. Taking a little bit of a rest here, maybe dipping the hips one way, getting a bit of a stretch through the side, taking your gaze over the opposite shoulder, coming back to center, taking it the other way, and counteracting that, coming back to center. We're going to go into the same movement again, so inhaling in, tucking the toes under, start to lift the knees off the ground, keeping them nice and low to the mat. Holding them here for a few breaths. And then when we're going to inhale nice and slowly, start to take the hips back as slow as you can. And then push up to your downward dog, nice and slow, so you really feel that movement move through all of the muscles. Lovely. And sending the hips up nice and tall, nice kind of flat back, squeezing the shoulder blades together, so we're sinking the spine behind the shoulders. And we start to pedal out the legs, working into the hamstrings. Finding our downward dog. We're taking the attention to the toes, to the back of the mat. And then when you're ready, just as slowly as we came into downward dog, we're going to start to rock forward, bringing ourselves over our palms, and then bringing the knees down, coming back to our tabletop. Lovely. From here, we're going to inhale in, start to lift the right foot towards the back of your mat and out behind you. Lovely. And then take the left arm up as well. So opposite arms going up, pushing away through that back heel, reaching through that front arm as if you're trying to shake somebody's hand. Pushing away from the mat with your right hand and your left shin. So we're pushing up, so we're not collapsing kind of into that side, we're keeping up nice and tall. Holding it here for a breath. And we'll inhale, popping those back down. Lovely. And then taking it straight back onto the other side. So inhaling, taking the left heel out, pushing through that back heel, pushing away from the mat with both hands before we take the right arm out. Find our hovering cat, Utthita Majorayasana. You might find it helpful to keep your gaze on the floor so the neck is nice and long. Keep pushing away from the mat, just come out with a quick peek. Lovely, all look really strong, really nice. Really engaging the core, so sucking the belly button up to meet the back body. Super, and then when you're ready, bringing it back down. Lovely, and then we're going to take the knees nice and wide. And moving with your breath, we're going to start to circle around. So maybe we inhale, coming over to the left, coming through our child's pose, the hips come to ankles. But we exhale, start to circle through the right. So taking this at your own speed, with whatever breath pattern kind of works for you. Feeling into all the corners of the torso and the pelvis. Pushing away from our mat with our hands, so really kind of pushing us back towards our hips. And then taking that moment to connect in with child's pose before we bring ourselves back round. Lovely. Coming back to center when you're ready. And then you can either keep the knees wide or you can bring them back a little bit more parallel. And we'll inhale, start to drop the belly, take the gaze up, pushing away through our hands, find your cow pose, lovely. Nice deep breaths here, and then exhale, pushing away, find your cat. Madhyayasana. And then continuing that movement with the breath, letting the pelvis kind of guide the movements. The pelvis moves first before the rest of the back. Seeing how that changes kind of the energy and the quality. Kind of squeezing the glutes as we move. Nice. We're going to do 2 or 3 more breaths here before we kind of come down to the mat. So if you want to grab a drink or anything before we go, then might be a good time to have a quick sip of water. If not, once you've done your 2 or 3 cat-cows, we're going to meet in puppy pose. So we're going to bring our elbows essentially to where our hands and our wrists currently are. So it kind of shifts our center of gravity ever so slightly forward. Hips are still over the knees. Lovely. And we're going to start to melt the heart back down towards the mat, between the shoulder blades, between the biceps. You can always kind of wiggle your arms until you find a position that's comfortable for you, but keeping your hips nice and high, nice and stacked. Dropping into your puppy pose, Anahatasana. Melting your heart towards the mat, maybe checking inwards again for a moment. Are we still honoring the intention we set at the beginning of the practice? Releasing into the earth. Breathing lots of love in and lots of love out. Now when you're ready, we're just going to start to shuffle the feet back to bring our hips down towards the mat, bringing our back up slightly to find our Sphinx pose. So nice and stacked. Lovely. Forearms are pressing down into the earth. Elbows are nice and kind of tucked in, so they're not spraying out. They're keeping us up nice and tall and supported. Pointing the toes backwards, really kind of engaging the glutes. So we're nice and stacked. Feeling a little bit of a back bend, a lengthening of the front body, and contraction of the back body, pushing into the earth of our pelvis. Taking some nice breaths here. And we're sending your breath to the lower back and the glutes. Pushing into the mat with your legs. And then from here, we're going to bring our palms together. So bringing the hands together to interlace the fingers, and then this little fist that we've created, we're going to pop that down on the floor, so it's almost kind of in the middle of your 2 elbows. And then from here, we're going to tuck the toes under, and then using the forearms to really push away from the mat, bringing ourselves up into our forearm plank. If you need to do any shuffling kind of with the feet or the arms to get you there, then please do. So we want to bring our head really right over our fists. We're pushing out away from the earth through our forearms, kind of ballooning through the shoulder blades, keeping the hips nice and low. We're going to hold this for a few breaths. Maybe sending our awareness to another body part if this feels a lot, which it will do. And maybe keep whispering to yourself, I'm strong, I've got this. Breathing through the movement, maybe a nice loud audible breath. And then in 3, 2, 1, we're going to send the hips up. Maybe start to walk your feet in to a comfortable position to find our dolphin. So we're still pushing away through the forearms. Pushing nice and strong through the shoulders. Really feeling that energy of the hips coming upwards. You might be on your tippy toes. That's all good. Holding ourselves here for this dolphin. Appreciating kind of the inversion and the different perspective it can give us. Pushing away from the earth. Almost as if you've got a piece of string on your hips, pulling your hips upwards. I'm going to come and have a very, very quick check because I know you'll do a great job of holding it here. Bring the knees down if you need to. Great job, guys. And then when you're ready, we'll walk the feet back out and then start to bring the hips back down to the mat. Great job, everyone. And then send the elbows out nice and wide, stacking the fists if you want to, kind of one potato, two potato, resting here in crocodile to get your breath back. Well done, guys. Great job. Deep mindful breaths here. Feeling strong, feeling that little buzz, little hum, the muscles and the body working. Very good. So from here, we're going to take the arms out parallel to us. We're taking them quite nice and wide. So we've got them each side in this T shape. And then with our kind of spider fingers, so keeping our fingertips on the floor, we're going to inhale, start to push up into your Cobra shape. So this is a variation of Cobra. It's going to feel very different. We're probably not going to get too high up. But we're just kind of holding our chest and our shoulders off the ground, really engaging the glutes, pushing down through the pelvis and the legs, making a couple breaths here, this kind of baby back bend. Holding it here, and then we'll inhale, releasing that back down, releasing the bend. Lovely. Super. So from here, you might want to bring your right arm in, kind of just on a bit of a 45-degree angle in front of you, so just for a bit of support. Nothing kind of too fancy or too exact, just to a point where you're going to feel a little bit supported. Because we're going to start to bend the left knee, bringing that left ankle towards our bum, and then using the left hand to kind of grab the foot or the ankle or the leg if we can, and give ourselves a little bit of a quad stretch. You can push into that right arm and come up a little bit if you'd like to. Just starting to get a little bit of a back bend, a little bit of a quad stretch here. Super. Very nice. So from here, you might want to watch me just for this next bit before we do it. But we're going to come back to our kind of lying down position, arms out in front of us, and this foot that is pointed upwards, we're going to take it over and kind of cross it over the opposite leg to get a little bit of a twist. So keeping our arms on the floor, our hands on the floor to ground us into the earth. We're just taking that heel upwards. So I'll demonstrate it again if you need to see, but we're taking it over, getting a little bit of a twist through the spine. Breathing into the side body, into the front body. Be careful not to kick anything behind us. And then exhaling, bringing those toes back over to come to lie on our front. Lovely. And then we'll take that quad stretch on the other side. So bringing the right ankle in this time, reaching back for it with the right hand, bringing that heel in towards the body. Using the option to come up if you'd like to, with that left hand as a bit of support. Breathing into the quads. And when you're ready, releasing that foot, taking our arms out into that T shape, and same movement again. We're kind of lifting the knee off the ground, letting the toes lead the way. We're going to cross it over behind us as if we're trying to flip the whole way over. I've got a glass of water there, so I'm going to use this opportunity to come and check on you guys so I don't cause a spillage. Really nice, guys. So getting a bit of a twist through the pelvis. Super, really good. Lovely. And then when you're ready, bringing the toes back over, coming back to your front. Nice. So this time, bringing both ankles in towards the bum, Come as close as you can. Forehead is on the earth, on the floor. And then we'll reach back with both hands this time. So reaching to grab kind of the front edges of the feet. And then when you've got them, when you've got a bit of a grasp, we're going to inhale, start to push your feet into your hands and use that movement of the feet pushing into the hands to kind of pull you up into your boat. Lovely. It's getting a nice little back bend here, keeping the knees, kind of squeezing the knees in together. So we're keeping the shoulder blades nice and engaged. Feeling that stretch through the quads. If you can't feel a stretch through the quads, don't worry. Maybe you've just got super open quads. Breathing into the belly, so kind of pushing through the torso, through the abdominals, pushing through the pelvis. And keeping that kind of motion of pushing the feet into the hands, pulling us upwards. And exhale, coming back down to our mat. If you're happy here, if you want to take a rest here, then please do. Or if you'd like to give that boat another go, you can lift up into your boat pose again. Choosing what feels good, what feels right for you today. Really nice, guys. It's really feeling the muscles of the core kind of switch on as we pull up. This isn't like a supernatural stretch. It's not something we get through our kind of everyday activities, or assume most of us don't anyway. So it's good just to have a little challenge, do something a bit different. And then when you're ready, we'll exhale, release those down. Bring the feet down, take the arms back out to that T shape on our fingertips or spider fingers. Inhale, coming back up to that wide armed cobra. Pushing down into the pelvis, into the legs, lifting our shoulders away from the earth. Lovely. And when you're ready, we'll bring our palms kind of in line with our chest so we can push ourselves back up and then send the hips all the way back to your child's pose. Lovely, taking a little bit of a rest here, surrendering into the earth. But you've got options. You can kind of release the arms, keep them nice and loose and relaxed, or you might want to keep your arms kind of in those spider finger shapes so they stay a little bit engaged. Another option is bend the elbows and send your palms overhead. That can be a nice little stretch on the triceps. Find the option that feels good for you for kind of 3 to 5 breaths to reset. Maybe a nice loud audible breath. So we can really check in with it. And we'll inhale, start to walk the hands up towards our knees. Taking a moment in kneeling, we've had our head kind of below our heart for a little while, so just letting the blood kind of rush down, taking a drink if you need to. Just taking a couple breaths here, back upright. Lovely. And then when you're ready, we will meet in our downward dog. So taking our hands forward, tucking the toes under, and again, taking this nice and slow, kind of enjoying it as we tuck the toes, lift the knees into that hovering shape, and send the hips back nice and slowly before we open up and take them up to the sky. Really nice, very good. So pedaling through the legs. And we're going to repeat that kind of little transition we were working on yesterday. So the three-legged dog to bringing our knee in towards our chest. So then inhale, start to take the right heel up towards the sky, three-legged dog. But when we're here, taking a moment to look at our hips, making sure they're still stacked and still level. So we're not kind of opening up to one side. We're keeping them nice and aligned. Really good, guys. And then we'll inhale, start to bend at the knee, bring that knee forward, pushing away from the mat, kind of coming onto your tiptoes at the back, nice and strong. Holding it here for a moment, feeling that fire in your belly. We're here for 3, 2, 1. Send the foot back to three-legged dog. Really nice, guys. And then we'll inhale, taking that again. So inhale, bending at the knee, bringing the knee forward, pushing away from the mat. Taking 3 breaths here. If your breaths are quicker than mine, then feel free to go back. Going at your pace, finding what feels good for you. And then we'll exhale, send the foot back out to three-legged dog. So the next movement we're going to do, again, you might want to watch me, so it might be worth bringing your foot down for a moment, come down to your knees just to watch this next bit. But we're going to take that same movement again. So we're going to inhale, sending the hips up, finding our three-legged dog. And then we're going to do the same movement. So we'll bend at the knee, bring the knee forward, but then we kind of want to shuffle the right hand in towards the center, because we're going to fold out on that back heel, straighten through that leg and send the arm up. So we're straightening, we're reaching away, pointing the toes, and then we'll transition back into our three-legged dog before we come down. Sound good? I will do it again. If anybody wants to watch it again, I'll do it again. Or if you want to give it a go, please do. It's the same transition, but we're going to push the leg through and really find a bit of kind of energy and momentum to reach out through the hands and the legs. So if you want to watch, if you're with me, then stay with me. If you want to crack on, then please do. But I'll talk us through it anyway. So from here, sticking with the right leg, we'll inhale, taking it up to our three-legged dog. On the right side, lovely. Hips are nice and stacked. Inhaling, bending at the knees, bringing that knee in towards the nose, hovering for a moment. And then we're going to shuffle the right hand forward ever so slightly towards the middle. Drop the left heel so the left toes are facing the front of the mat. And then straighten out through those arms and legs. Nice. And then when you're ready, coming back to your three-legged dog. And then we're going to take that one more time. So inhaling, bringing the knee forward. Bringing that hand into the middle, dropping the back heel. Reaching out like a little burst of energy. And then this time, instead of coming back to three-legged dog, we're just going to bring the hips towards the mat. Lovely. And you might have found that your leg has kind of naturally come into a bit of a right angle, so your right foot at your left leg, lovely, which is sent out long. And we're going to take our chest and our heart and our face towards those outstretched toes and start to fold over into our Janu Sasana, head to knee pose. So using that kind of direction of looking at the toes to bring ourselves forward and release some of that tension, some of that energy we just built up. Breathing into the stretched out leg. Really nice, guys. Keeping a nice long spine. With each exhale, seeing if you can come that little bit closer to your toes. But being nice to ourselves, if we're nowhere near them, that is absolutely fine. And then we'll inhale, start to move back up. And then we're going to do it on the other side. So finding our way back to our downward dog at whatever speed, rhythm you're comfortable with. If it feels good for you, obviously. Don't have to repeat it on the other side if it feels a bit much. So inhaling, sending the hips up to our nice tall downward dog. And we're going to take the same thing on the left side. So trying to do it kind of once or twice, and then we'll bring our bum back down towards the earth. So inhaling in, finding our three-legged dog. Exhaling, bending at the knee, coming forward, and then shifting that left hand in slightly. So we drop the right heel and burst out nice and long. I've got a wall here, so I can't really do it this side. And then after your little burst, Coming back into your three-legged dog. Nice. I'm going to come and watch you all for a cycle. You all know what you're doing. So finding a three-legged dog, bringing that knee in. And then finding that little shuffle, that little adjustment. You can take that knee all the way around. Yeah, really nice, Lizzie. Perfect. Really good, guys. You're all still smiling, so that's good. Telling yourselves you're strong. Doesn't matter if we fall over. And then once you've had your fill, bringing those hips back down towards the mat. Doesn't matter if we have a bit of a fudge, a bit of a crash. And then we'll take that Jani Sasasana on the other side. So bringing the left sole of the foot in towards the right thigh, then finding length, so inhaling to find length before we exhale, using the fingertips to walk ourselves towards those toes. Good, folding into our Jani Sasasana. Breathing in. Seeing if there's anything we need at this point. What do we need to do to be mindful and look after ourselves? Coming back to that intention. Very good. And then we'll inhale, start to walk ourselves back up. And then we want to make our way to standing, so nothing fancy. If you have a fun way of getting there, then please do, if you want a vinyasa up or anything. But just coming to standing, giving everything a bit of a shake. We've done a lot quite close to the mat today, so we'll do a little bit of standing for our last kind of section. Yeah, shaking anything off that needs to shake off, taking a little bit of a drink. And then when you're ready, we will all meet in Tadasana for our mountain pose. So feet kind of hips distance apart, maybe bringing the toes off the mat to then kind of re-drop them. So we've really got that nice connection with the earth. Pushing through all four corners of the feet and keeping that motion of kind of head over heart, heart over pelvis. So standing up nice and straight, nice and tall, palms facing forward to invite some energy in. Take a couple of breaths here. Dropping the shoulders, creating some nice space between the ear and the shoulder. And then when you're ready, we'll bring our hands to our hips to help find a bit of support, a bit of balance. And then we'll start to shift the weight slightly into the right leg. And we're going to lift the left ankle and start to place it just on top of that right knee. Lovely. Finding our balance here. Really opening out with that left thigh to get a bit of external rotation in the hip. So we're pushing down with the toe of the standing foot to find a bit of height and length, and then pushing back with the left knee to get a bit of openness in the front. Taking some deep breaths here. And in that figure four position, we can bring our hands, our palms together, Anjali Mudra, bring them into the chest. You might find that motion of kind of pushing the palms together might help us stay up and find a little bit of balance. I know it helped me to kind of bring that little bit of energy in. Lovely. Taking a moment. And then from here, with that left foot, we're going to extend through the knees, so taking the foot out, and then we're going to take it all the way around, circling behind that back leg, to meet the mat on the other side, and then drop the knee coming into this kind of lunge variation, bringing the knee as close to the floor as we can. Really nice, guy. Feeling the muscles start to switch on and shake. And then we'll inhale, pushing back up through that back knee, bringing that leg out to the side, so nice wide stance. And then we'll bring the left hand down to meet the left leg, send the right arm up, and start to take a bit of a side stretch, and maybe walking the fingertips down that leg to get a bit of a stretch in that right side. Really nice, guys. Reaching up as we come over. And then exhale, we'll cartwheel that right arm back round. And we're going to lift the left ankle, place it back on that right knee where we started. Back in our supine figure 4. Bringing the palms together if you'd like to. Very good. And option to stay here if you're comfortable here and you're challenging your balance and kind of drawing inwards, this is great. Or if you'd like to, we can start to drop that left ankle and start to wrap it around the standing leg to find our eagle legs. If you just cross it over once and that's as far as you get, that's fine. I think that's all I can do on this side today. So find that kind of cross-legged position as if we're holding in a wee. And then we'll inhale, taking the arms nice and wide, taking up lots of space, as if we're all going to give each other a big hug. And then exhale, bringing the arms together, bringing the left elbow underneath the right, find your eagle arms. Bringing the palms together, pushing through that standing leg. In eagle, very nice, guys. Lifting through the elbows. And when you're ready, releasing the arms, releasing the legs, bringing the feet back down. Give them a good shake off. Very good, guys. Especially kind of shaking through the ankles because there was a lot going on in those ankles today. So maybe taking some ankle rolls. One way, checking in with the other. Nice. And then very predictably, we're going to take that all on the other side. So taking a moment again to check in, find our Tadasana, notice how we're feeling, pushing away from the earth. And then when we're ready, we'll start to shift the weight into the left side this time, bringing the right ankle up, placing it on that left knee and sending that right knee out towards the back of the mat, opening through the pelvis, opening through the hips, pushing down through the standing leg, bringing your palms together if that's helpful for you. If it's not, don't feel you have to copy it, do your own thing, it's all good. Just pushing the palms together, really kind of spraying out the toes, I don't think that's the right word, but finding some energy in the toes, spreading the toes of the foot. Super. Deep breath here, and then we'll inhale, we're going to take that foot out and around, circling it around our mat, taking it behind the leg, and start to fold down into our lunge, bringing the knee towards the mat, holding it here for a moment, feeling the thigh muscles cling to the bones, feeling a little bit of shake, a little wobble, which is all good. Knowing we're all wobbling, it's not just you. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale, pushing through those knees, bringing that leg out comfortably to the side, and taking the right hand down that right leg, reaching up with the left arm, finding a little side stretch here. Bring in a little wrist roll if you want to take the chance to add something else. Lovely. And then we're cartwheeling those arms back round. Coming back more towards the center so that we can bring that leg up towards the opposite knee again, finding our figure 4, pushing out through that knee. Super. And then from here, we'll start to wrap that leg around. So right leg's coming over the left leg this time. Maybe we wrap the toes around as well. Maybe we don't, that's fine. And then we'll inhale, taking the arms nice and wide before we bring them in together, enjoying the movement, taking the right elbow underneath the left this time, finding our eagle, Garudasana. Oh. Keeping everything nice and tucked into the center, feeling that energy in the legs, energy in the arms, pushing through the standing leg, engaging the core. We're nearly there, guys, we've got this. And then when you're ready, releasing the arms, releasing the legs, giving everything a good shake off. Really nice. Taking some ankle rolls on that other side. Very good. Taking a drink if we need one. Very good. Nice. So before we start to move back down towards our mat, we're going to play around a little bit with chair pose, which we've all been before. We know where we're going, but I really want us to focus on kind of the movement and trying to find a little bit of enjoyment in it. So I think it can be a bit of a love-or-hate one. So finding that nice balance of kind of holding it and feeling strong and enjoying kind of the sensation of the movement. So we're going to inhale, taking the arms up and overhead, taking a moment to reach up towards the sky. Before we exhale, start to drop those hips as if we're sitting in an invisible chair. Seeing how low we can come down. And keep reaching up through the hands, using that reach to kind of keep us lifted and strong and stopping us crashing into the legs. Taking a breath here. And then we'll exhale as if we're painting the wall in front of us, bring ourselves back up. Nice. If you've got a wall near you, I kind of recommend maybe trying it on a wall as well, just to kind of take the balance out of it, but feel the sensation of the chair. So if you do have a wall or a door, doesn't matter if you need to go off camera, then trying this movement on a wall can be quite nice because you kind of feel the sensations, the muscles kicking in, but it takes that kind of the balance element out of it. So maybe as you've got a wall, trying this for one. Everybody kind of wanders off. Nice, so still reaching through the arms, seeing how low we can go, feeling the thighs kind of switch on. Really nice. Focusing on the breath. And then same movement again when you're ready, as if you're painting the wall in front of you, bringing ourselves back up to standing. Lovely. If you enjoyed doing it on the wall, then keep doing it on the wall. If not, we'll come back to our mats. Just moving with the breath in your own speed. So only holding it in chair if you'd like to, it feels good for you. So we'll inhale, taking the arms up. Exhale, dropping the hips back. Taking a breath here if you'd like to. Then we'll inhale, painting the hands down in front of the wall, bringing yourself back up. And then with your next breath, dropping the hips again, bringing ourselves back into it. And like I said, if you want to stay, then you can stay. If you want to just keep flowing between those positions, you absolutely can. It's your practice. So do the option that's going to serve you best today, feel good for you. So not worrying what anyone else is doing. Comparison is the thief of joy. I see that written on Instagram all the time. I'm sure someone important said it, but it makes a lot of sense. And reaching out through those hands, pushing down through the feet. Feeling that wobble and shake through the legs. And then final time, enjoying our last final chair, holding it for a breath or two if it feels good for you. And this time we'll exhale, painting the wall in front of us, sending the hips up. Come into your forward fold. Bringing that belly towards the thighs, sending the hips upwards. Maybe taking clasp of each elbows to come into kind of a ragdoll position, so nice and loose. Just letting go, feeling the breath. It's our first forward fold of the session. Normally I put them in all the time, so maybe that's a good thing for you, maybe it's a sad thing. I don't know. Dropping in here. And then when you're ready, using the hands on the floor to bring the bum down, we will come down to our mat. Lovely. Maybe taking the legs out, giving them a little bit of a shake and a hip. I always quite like doing this, I don't know why. It brings a bit of sensation to the hands and the legs. Lovely. So we've got one last kind of little thing to do before we move into our relaxation. So we're going to bring our feet to the mat and start to send the shoulder and the back down towards the earth. So we want to set up to find a really nice grounding. So bringing the feet to kind of a comfortable position in the bum. What I find quite helpful is to almost lift the pelvis up again, just to place it back down. And I don't know why, for some reason on the second time, I tend to get a bit of a sturdier connection with the earth. So using the palms to kind of ground into the earth. And then from here, we're going to start to take the shins up parallel to the sky. So pointing through the toes, using the palms on the earth to kind of find a little bit of lift, a little bit of strength. And then finding the comfortable position for your knees. So the further they are away from your torso, the stronger this is going to feel, the more challenging this might feel. Or if you bring them in a little bit closer to your belly, that will take some of the intensity out. So finding the place that's kind of nice balance for you. So holding the legs here, feeling the muscles of the lower belly start to switch on. Not really start, they're probably already on from everything else we've done today, but maybe we're feeling them now. And then we're actually going to go into our eagle legs again. So it might feel very different from this perspective, but we're going to cross the left leg over the right leg. If you're able to tuck your toes under as well, great. If you can't, don't panic, just cross your legs. I can't really tuck them under either. Holding this here for a moment. You might notice how this already feels quite a lot more intense as we bring the legs together, abducting the muscles in. You've always got the options to drop the toes if that feels better for you, depending on your energy level is. And then we're going to do the same thing with the arms. So taking the arms up, crossing the left elbow underneath the right, find your eagle from this position. So you might already be feeling this here. I know I certainly am. So kind of lifting through the elbows, keeping the shins nice and parallel. Option, if you want to add a little extra, you can drop the toes to the floor, start to lift your elbows towards the knee, coming into an eagle crunch. So that's one option. Or you keep the toes lifted, bring everything together. So bringing your knees to your nose, this kind of pretzel-y position, we're all crossed up, finding some little crunches, moving from the abdominals, feeling that nice, strong sheets on your core. And it might not be a big movement, it's probably going to be quite a small micro movement. Just bringing the elbows in towards the knees. Lovely. And then dropping the toes, unraveling the arms. Unfortunately, we need to take that on the other side. So if you thought you were done, we've got to do it one more time on the other side. So this time, inhaling, lifting the right heel up, stretching out that leg before we cross it over the left. Seeing if you can tuck your toes under. If you can't, don't panic. And then same thing with the arms. So bringing the right elbow underneath the left arm and finding your options. So maybe we're staying here, holding the arms and the legs. This is very strong in and of itself. Maybe dropping the toes, or maybe finding one of those crunch options. So bringing the elbows in towards the knee, either with the foot on the ground or with the foot raised. Really, I quite like doing this with eagle arms. It really gets into the lower belly sometimes. But remembering to keep breathing, remembering to keep smiling. And come with a glick check. Telling yourself that we're strong, we're doing this nice and mindfully, we're not forcing ourselves into anything. Really lovely, guys, really good. And then when you're ready, you'll be relieved to know we're going to uncross the arms, uncross the legs, bringing everything back down to the earth. Lovely. And taking any kind of natural organic movement that feels good for you here. So if there's anything you want to do, maybe that's bringing one knee into the chest and then the other, hugging the knees. Maybe taking the feet kind of the width of the mat and dropping the knees to get a little bit of a twist. You can bring your feet into your hands, knees up to the armpits, find a happy baby. You're really doing what's going to feel good for you. A kind of final bit of movement before we settle into Shavasana. Counteract the prana and the energy that's bustling around so we can start to settle, integrating our physical practice with the kind of mental and emotional practice as well. So just as soon as you're ready, doing anything you need to do to make your Shavasana a little bit more comfortable. So whether that's grabbing a cushion for your head, maybe rolling up a blanket and popping it under the knees if you want that bit of extra support, maybe popping some layers on, kind of getting ready for the temperature to drop slightly. And then sending those feet out to the side, choosing how you want your palms, whether they're facing the earth or facing up towards the sky, dropping the shoulders, bringing our focus and our attention back to the breath. Maybe lowering the gaze or closing the eyes if you haven't already. Starting to draw inwards. Feeling the effects of our practice start to settle and integrate. Maybe using that visual technique of imagining your nose, watching your nose as you inhale through the nostrils and exhale back out. Following the breath as it travels through the nostrils, through the chest, through the belly. Come all the way back the other way. Trying to bring our focus and attention to the movement of that breath. Every time the mind wanders, bringing it back. And the mind will wander, so not judging ourselves or getting annoyed or frustrated if we're struggling to stay present. We're only human. Be bringing our awareness and our attention to the belly. Maybe placing the hands on the belly if that's kind of comforting and feels nice for you. Feeling the belly stretch as we inhale and push our fingers away from each other. And focusing on the sensation as we exhale, the belly drops. Maybe taking our focus and awareness to our rib cage. We can move the hands if you'd like to. Feeling our rib cage take up space. As we inhale, the rib cage expanding and growing. Maybe we feel our back kind of push us up away from the mat. Coming back together as we exhale. Keeping our focus here for a few moments. Every time the mind starts to wander, acknowledging where it went and bringing our focus back. If your hands are on the belly, maybe taking one hand or both hands up towards our heart space, so up towards the chest. Feeling our breath push through our chest, through our collarbone. And then lifting our shoulders as we inhale. Shoulders and chest dropping as we exhale. Holding our chest in our focus and our awareness. Every time mind wanders, bringing it back. These last few moments, noticing the breath as it travels through each of those 3 areas. So as we take our full, deep, mindful breaths, feeling the breath and following the breath in the belly, in the rib cage, in the chest. Our breath working unconsciously for us, ebbing and flowing, filling us with our life force. Our amazing, strong, incredible body working for us, working with us. Maybe setting an intention to work with it as well. Noticing when we try and fight it and go against what it's asking us for, what it needs. And when you're ready, you'll start to bring a little bit of movement back into the body, whether that's maybe reaching out through the fingertips, maybe giving the ankles a little bit of a roll, opening and closing the hands to stretch the fingers, bringing some sensation back to the body. And then there is absolutely no rush. As soon as you're ready, coming back up into a seated position if you'd like to. If you want to stay in Shavasana, if you want to end your practice here, and I can always end the meeting and leave you if you're enjoying a nice little rest. Alternatively, if you want to join the class, finish the class seated, then coming back to the position where we started. Grounding down through the legs, our palms down for grounding, palms up for energy, so choosing the option that feels good for you. As we close out our practice, breathing in that intention we set and making a commitment to ourselves to see how we can take that into the rest of our evenings, the rest of our weeks. Responding to our needs and looking after our needs, accepting them for what they are. Bringing the palms together, thumbs up to the third eye, thanking ourselves, thanking our glorious strong bodies, and thanking each other for sharing our practice together this evening. I'll see you all very soon. Thank you, everybody. I'm very sorry I've run 5 minutes over. Never feel bad if you need to leave at past and I'm running over. I'll try not to, because that's not as enjoyable for you if you miss the last bit. But if you ever need to leave, don't feel like you need to hang on. I'd hate for you to be stressed because you're thinking, oh, I really should have finished. But it was lovely to see you all.